Hey folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Weekly Movie News Podcast. This week's news brought to you by Getting to Work. Yes, let's start with a very busy man named Christopher Nolan. So Nolan, who recently wrapped shooting The Odyssey, is hard at work in post-production with the months and months of editing ahead of him, which is what makes this news very surprising. Nolan has now been elected president of the Directors Guild of America. Usually a position for an older, semi-retired, or at least kind of scaled back and not usually such a prominent figure, but the board apparently wants to go in a new direction, electing one of the biggest names in all of directing and a guy who was still in his prime. It's shocking that Nolan would want the job, and yet he does. He said in a statement, quote, "To be elected president of the Directors Guild of America is one of the greatest honors of my career. Our industry is experiencing tremendous change, and I thank the Guild's membership for entrusting me with this responsibility. I also want to thank President Glatter for her leadership over the past 4 years. I look forward to collaborating with her and the newly elected board to achieve important creative and economic protections for our members." End quote. And I'm sure that this makes a lot of directors happy, with Nolan being such a practical, imaginative, detailed director who absolutely cherishes movies being played in the theater. As far as what the president of the Directors Guild of America does, well, here is what a quick search tells us. So, the president of the Directors Guild of America serves as the main spokesman and leader for the union's members, negotiating collective bargaining agreements on their behalf to ensure fair compensation, benefits, and working conditions in the entertainment industry. The president champions creative and economic protections for directors and their teams, acts as the public face during labor disputes, and helps set the Guild's agenda for creative and professional development. So the Guild has almost 20,000 members, and the only other thing to say to that is congratulations, Chris Nolan, and good luck to you. Let's jump to another all-time great director, Marty Scorsese. Yes, so many projects have been thrown around. Martin Scorsese has attached himself to at least 8 different projects right now, and all are in different stages of becoming a reality. But as far as Marty's next project goes, well, we finally have an answer, and it's a bit of a surprise. What Happens at Night is the title of the upcoming movie. It's based off the 2020 novel of the same name, written by Peter Cameron. The basic plot is this. So, an American couple travels to a snowy European town to adopt a baby. They check into a vast, nearly deserted hotel populated by enigmatic figures. As they fight to bring their child home, the strange world around them begins to unravel, and so does their understanding of themselves and their marriage. So definitely in a creepy vein, more akin to Shutter Island we might get with this. The real surprise here is that the filming looks to be taking place in early 2026 already, and the 2 stars of the movie are none other than Leo DiCaprio, because of course, and also Jennifer Lawrence. And honestly, it's just great to see that he's made a decision and it's ready to go. There are still so many stories that Scorsese wants to tell and that we want to see from him. At 82, he's still full of energy, and we can't wait for What Happens at Night to get underway. And now for some more gossip that's been revolving around Warner Brothers. So even though Warner Bros. Is having a great year at the theaters, people are hungry out there. David Ellison, who literally just got done purchasing and taking control of Paramount Global, is apparently eyeing Warner and might be planning a massive cash deal to acquire the studio. Warner is undergoing a restructuring currently. It's splitting up its cable networks from the streaming and studio operations. And if it were to actually happen, the company that would exist after this would just be unbelievably big. I'm not even going to go down the list of properties that this one company would own because it's just that massive. Who knows if it would even be accepted to go through. So Warner is valued currently at $41 billion, though they do have a lot of debt. Who knows if the board would even consider an offer, and who knows how much Ellison even has to offer. But now, taking away the news from Ellison is actually Netflix now. Yes, just when you thought Paramount merging with Warner could be bad, rumors are floating around that Netflix might be making an offer to acquire the studio as well. This would truly be bad by kind of all assumptions. You know, Netflix likes movie theaters as much as Vincent Daly likes Drew Barrymore. That is to say that Netflix cannot stand movie theaters and would rather not partake in anything movie theaters try to do. And also, the acting can be pretty cringe. Anyway, this is all very speculative and very new. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too much of the cannibalization of a legendary movie studio that's been around from the beginning and what it would look like if a bloodthirsty streaming service like Netflix would take over. I just want to let everyone know kind of what's going on, what's being rumored, and let's hope that nothing really comes of it. Of course, though, we'll have updates if this story continues. A quicker story here then. So Mad Max, or really Mad Max Wasteland, was the next film director George Miller wanted to make in the Mad Max universe. The film would take place 1 year before the events in Fury Road, but after Furiosa was a financial loss, Warner Bros. Shelved the project, and George Miller is currently working on his next film not attached to the Mad Max universe. But now it's reported that Wasteland is, in fact, being worked on, and a script is being worked on, but it's not going to be a movie, and rather a TV series over on HBO. Like I said, the script is being written, and that's kind of all we have right now. Nothing on Tom Hardy or Charlize Theron coming back. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But I have to say, an episodic Wasteland series in the Mad Max world could be a very, very cool thing. So excited to hear more on that. And now, though we briefly mentioned it on last week's show, I want to reiterate and again bid a farewell to Robert Redford. The legendary actor passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 89 in his home in Sundance, Utah. Redford was nominated 4 times for an Oscar and won for Best Director on 1980's Ordinary People. He received an Academy Honorary Award in 2001, Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award in 96, the Kennedy Center Honors in 2005, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2016. Redford's career spanned over 6 decades. He starred in major roles in films like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, All the President's Men, The Natural, Jeremiah Johnson, The Sting, and many, many more. He directed films like The Quiz Show, The Horse Whisperer, and Ordinary People. He was still executive producing projects into this year, 2025, and he has always tried to help people who were upcoming, even though he was never taking credits or looking for recognition in doing so. You know, Redford always wanted to give newcomers a chance and wanted to propel new voices. In 1981, he formed Sundance Film Festival in Utah, a festival with the main goal of giving young directors a shot at the big screen and to be picked up and propelled. Some directors who were massively helped by appearing at Sundance were Wes Anderson, Ryan Coogler, Richard Linklater, Darren Aronofsky, and the Coen brothers. Redford was an all-time great and cemented his name in that space all the way back in the 1970s. We do now, and we will continue to, appreciate him and his work for decades to come. Let's jump on over to the box office for this past weekend. So tied for 4th this weekend was newly released The Long Walk and Downton Abbey, the grand finale, both raking in $6.3 million. Third highest grossing was Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba - Infinity Castle with $11.9 million. Second for the weekend was The Conjuring Last Rites with $13 million. And the biggest movie at the box office was newly released Him, just making $13.5 million. That movie not coming out with a lot of fanfare at all. Anyway, coming up this Thursday, Vincent Daly will be watching, rating, and reviewing. It is another Stephen King week here, folks, so we have some big ones here. We are covering Misery from 1990 with Kathy Bates, James Caan, directed by Rob Reiner. Then The Shawshank Redemption from 94, directed by Frank Darabont. We also have The Mist, directed by Frank Darabont. Gerald's Game over on Netflix, that's by Mike Flanagan. And finally, newly released The Long Walk with Cooper Hoffman, Mark Hamill, directed by Francis Lawrence. Again, all of these films being spawned by novels from Stephen King himself. But that's it for your weekly movie news here, folks. We'll leave you today with a quote from an actor, director, and a producer, Robert Redford. Health food may be good for the conscious, but Oreos taste a hell of a lot better. And all right, folks, the Daily Ratings Weekly Movie News Podcast. That was it. See you on Thursday.